Hello? Can you hear my voice? Alright, so I got into track around like 8 years old. 8 years old I started. I was I was always a runner. Like my parents were always chasing after me. But like coming into maybe like 6 years old, I was getting a little overweight and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
had to put me in some, and they put me in math sports like swimming, like basketball, all these like generic sports, and then I had to go to track because like that was all I was like really good at, like decent at for the start, and so they put me in a program by my school, like South Shore High School in Canarsie, because like that's where I grew up, and they put me in there, and I was the only kid, so I was the only kid running for their track team, and I just stuck with them, but I had to move on like after a little bit because I was the only kid, and there was no one to communicate with, no teammates. So
How was it growing up in Canarsie?
So growing up in Canarsie, I had like no friends. Like there was no one in like the block that I could talk to, or like just in the place itself. It was low-key just me. I sat at home like playing my own games, kind of like all the other kids outside. My mom wouldn't really let me play with, to be honest. She was mostly like keep me inside. I guess she just didn't want me to interact with the kids that went to the other school. I guess she thought they were too, I guess, ghetto, or like I couldn't like be around them. She thought I might get into drugs or something.
Yeah.
So like she took me away from that like as soon as I knew like I could go outside and like be with my friends. I usually just spend my time with my cousin because he was like the only one that lived close to me. He was like my cousin, my brother. And yeah, I usually just played with them. I went over to his house like almost every weekend. So like he was just the closest one to me when it came to like growing up in Canarsie. But overall, like my life like was not hard. I had a pretty easy coming up. Like my parents made sure they got everything for me that I wanted. Like took me to movies pretty often and like got me the stuff I wanted for Christmas. So like I had a good family. Like I was in a loving community, to be honest. Yeah.
Would you say like your parents or like family like inspire you?
Yeah, they definitely inspire me a lot. Starting track, I was like decent, as I said before, but I wasn't really like beating people with flying colors or even winning races at all.
Yeah.
So, every single bad race, like, I'd have a stern talking to from my parents. Like, obviously they wanted me to like do the best that I could, of course. So, usually after coming off a bad race, I get like the silent treatment almost. Like, obviously they still care for me, but they were like, you could do so much better. Like, we know that you're more capable of doing things like this. So, yeah, usually with like treatment like that, most people would be like, I don't want to run track anymore. And that's happened like a couple of times for me where I'm like, I don't want to do a sport anymore. Like, I just want to go outside. I just want to be with my friends. I just want to, not focus about another sport that takes up so much time. And that's what I thought for a couple, like maybe like weeks at a time, until I started doing better. And I realized that like everything my parents did for me was all part of the plan. Like it was all to like get me to where I am today. And it's not even just my parents. It was definitely my uncle as well, my mom's brother. He started off running track like when he came to America back in like his teenage years for high school. And he started running marathons and things like that. And during the summer of COVID, when everything shut down, and it was low-key just me, like running by myself, he was the one that made sure to wake me up and bring me on the long runs, bring me to practices, bring me to like Van Cortlandt to go run the hills. Like he's the one that really like took control over my life to get me where I am, and like I'm like really grateful for that. It's like just grateful for everything that everyone's done for me.
When was like that period where you started to actually like get better?
Coming off back when I was in that first program, you would say, where I was the only kid, I was running like a 2:36.800. That was like my best time, and I thought like that's all I could do. It always put me in like third, second place, but it never got me to first. And then I ran one race, my first race back into indoor. I think I was my first year of 11, like my first year turning 11, so 11-12. And I ran a 2:20s. I've gone to 2:20s for the first time, and that was like when I realized like I can compete with the kids. Like not everyone, like everyone's not impossible to beat. And then after that, my parents also knew that I was getting like significantly better, so they had no choice but to take me out of that track program and bring me to another one, Prospect Park here, Prospect Park Youth Running Club, and I was running really well there. And then COVID hit, and it was just me by myself. There was no races, so I had to just focus on my own training. And then coming back to where there was like half, you could like start coming in, wear your mask. Started running again, and my first 800 I ran back in 8th grade was 2:13. It's like a big improvement, like 14 seconds since the last time I ran. And every race I just improved by 3 or more seconds. And then by the end of my 8th grade year, I got to 202, got into high school, and I knew that all I had to do was just keep pushing from there and keep bringing my times down. Yeah, so around Easter, right after indoor season ended, I just finished Nike Nationals and indoor. Got 2 All-American like finishes in the 4x8 and the SMR. So I was pretty happy about that. And I brought my 800 splits to 153. So I was in pretty good shape. And after that, it was time to go to Grenada for the Carifta Games, which is like a Caribbean, like basically the Caribbean Olympics for under 20. So like 17 to 20 year olds was my age group. So when I was running that race, I was 16, so I went to the 1500 and I placed, I think, 5th, which isn't my best. I know I could have done better, but I was still the youngest there, so I still have next year. And then the 800 came, and this is what I was really good at, so I was more hyped for this race. Coming into the rounds, I didn't auto qualify. I had a really bad race. I came 3rd in my heat, and I barely qualified off the time, so I was really nervous. My body was aching. I just didn't feel good. Just not having a good race. Not having a good week at all, actually. I just felt drowsy. And coming into the final, I was placed, I think, in lane 3 or 2. I don't remember. But I was nervous as hell. I was like, when they called my name out on the big screen, I was on like the Jumbotron. I was like freaking out in my head, but I tried to look calm. And when that gun went off, like, everything just went away. Like, everything that I felt, all my pain. Like, I came around the first lap in like 4th, 3rd place, coming through, and I felt like no pain through the first 400, and I was like, wait, I have a chance to win this. And then coming through the 500 meter mark, like on the back stretch, someone from Jamaica started to pull forward. He was like 19, I think, almost 20. So I knew he was gonna have the more strength than I did, just from like age-wise. So he got away, and it was basically just a race for second. So coming on to the last like final stretch, I was in 3rd place, and I just had to sprint everything out. So sprinted down the last stretch, and I was like fading in black and white. Like, I could not see anything, and so I finished the line. And I did the line. I barely clipped someone from Trinidad and Tobago in 2nd place, and I PR'd by like 2 seconds from last year in 100. So I was like super hyped, and there was like a big celebration because the games were held in my mom's home country, so it was basically like home advantage, home field. So people were like yelling my name, and I had so much people looking up to me, and I felt so proud of myself, but I also felt like so proud to be able to represent my mom's country and just like put my name on the map, like nationally as well. It was an amazing experience. Like, I loved it there.
You got any tips for like any future track athletes?
Yeah, I got a lot of tips actually. So the first tip would be like, don't compare. Like, comparison will like kill you, like eat you alive, because you're always gonna see something on social media. You're always gonna see people doing like amazing things, people running way faster than you, and you're not supposed to let that like shit like that bring you down. Like, that's supposed to bring you up. That's supposed to make you more like, I don't know how to say it, but it's supposed to make you feel more like
Encouraged.
Yeah, encouraged. Encouraged. Like, just feel like you should be catching up to them, not you should be quitting your sport because others are better than you. Like, use that as your advantage. Like, use that as encouragement to bring yourself forward. Next thing would be to take advice. Like, I know coming after like a hard race or coming after a hard loss, it's gonna make you feel like I don't want to talk to no one. Like, leave the fuck alone. Like, that's probably what is gonna happen. but you still gotta take that advice. Like, people are obviously gonna tell you things that you did wrong, things that you did right. Like, that's just how it's gonna go. But you need to learn how to take constructive criticism. Like, that's just how you're gonna get better at the sport. Everyone's gonna give you constructive criticism. The last thing would be is to, like, keep consistent. Like, you gotta keep consistent. I know training would you think it would be enough, but it's better to do the things at home as well, like your own bodyweight workouts or your own stretches. Like, don't leave everything just to practice at school or practice in your club. Like, you got to take things into your own hands and make sure that you're doing what you can to be the best that you can possibly be. And, like, that's all I gotta say. Those are my 3 rules.
Yeah. What's college looking like?
College? Go to struggle right now. Practice for that. I've gone to like multiple like meetings, been to like multiple colleges, like where I talked to some idea, but it's they don't give a lot of aid for my parents. I guess you make a little bit too much money, and my mom. And just track-wise, it seems like they're not allocating like any scholarship money to middle distance or like the main events that I do. So I'd probably have to rely entirely on aid.
Yeah.
And that's making it super hard. So I've applied to a couple schools just for early action, just in case my recruitment doesn't go well. But I still have a little more time since my peak isn't until like indoor, outdoor, like the track events.
Yeah.
Right now, this is just conditioning. Like, and if I can do good in this cross country, then that just makes me more confident for indoor season. I'm still looking for more like colleges to apply to and more colleges to talk to in terms of recruitment. But the process is like is so discouraging, like so unencouraging. It's just so much. It's just so hard to get like any money going your way unless you're like extremely fast on the jump. So I'm getting there. I'm not the best of the best yet, but hopefully in a couple of months I'll be winning my states. I'll be making it to nationals and I'll win that too, or place, and hopefully get my name on the map.
So what are future goals looking like?
So future goals, I definitely want to win my states indoor and outdoor for my senior year, just to end it off. And I also want to make sure I bring my team to nationals and get them more All-American finishes, because like I would be the one running the 4x8 if we had one, the 4x4 if we had one, the SMR if we had one, the DMR. I'd be in mostly all of them. So I want to make sure I get fast enough to put my teammates in a good position. And then after high school, whatever college I go to, I'm definitely going to keep running track. Like, that's what I like to do. It doesn't really matter which school I go to, like D1, D2, D3, as long as I get like a platform where I get enough time to keep improving on my times, and then I'm just gonna keep improving until I can get like an Olympic standard or anything like that if I can. And if I do, the first thing I'm gonna do is try to go to the Olympic trials, try to get there. If that doesn't work, then that's just it. But I'd probably focus on my academics more than anything if track doesn't go the way I want it to. But so far, it's looking like track's the thing that's going to take me forward in life. So,
you got any like degree plans?
Degree, yeah. I was really good at math, like my whole like 4 years of high school, and right now I'm taking AP Calc. Kind of whooping my ass, but I'm still doing decently good in the class. And I was thinking about doing something in business, but I'm also really strangely attracted to psychology. It's also what my aunt did, so it'd be cool to have something in common with her. And yeah, it's either business or psychology, but kind of leaning towards psychology just because of just my interest in it. And yeah, focusing mainly on psychology.
Where can people find you at?
So y'all can find me on Instagram D'Angelo BK, D'Angelo BK. That's my personal Instagram, just for like pictures of myself and stuff. And then for track, you can find me at dbrown_dboss, which is my track account I've had since like the 5th grade. So find me there on Instagram. That's the only like real public socials I got. So,
Final message.
final message is stay in school, kids. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't be a follower. You don't want to follow people that aren't going to help you in life. And if you do decide to follow, make sure it's on a path that can take you forward in life and not backwards.